Well, that was quick. That was quick. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about the allegations against voice actor Damon Mills. We did a video a couple days ago where there were allegations leveled at him by someone who was a minor at the time, that there was inappropriateness, and there was a document out there, an Anime News Network put it out there, and apparently that document, as I understand it, was out there for months before Anime News Network finally broke
they sat on it for a while, I guess.
Yeah, because, you know, that's what they do. They can't wait to, you know, not tell everybody what an awful person somebody in the anime industry is. Oh, I'm sorry. It just depends on who it is.
It depends on who you are, yes.
So we're going to talk about this. Now, look, again, I don't want to be like, you know, if there are victims involved, gloating or anything like that. But we talked about the situation with Damon Mills and how different it was compared to the situation with Vic Mignogna. In the case of Damon Mills, we had a person come forward with a very lengthy document and screenshots.
Yeah, I guess it was from the emails where he was asking the friend to you know, hey, you know, give me pictures of him. And I guess there's photos out there of the alleged victim and him together. There's a bunch of photos out there too.
Yeah. So there were definitely some receipts for this. Whereas the situation with Vic Mignogna, we had Anime News Network, you know, putting out quote unquote evidence that was not actually evidence. It was, you know, Vic maybe hugging one of his fans at the convention consensually, and they were like, "Oh my God, look at Vic groping this girl."
And there was people that actually, you know, told Anime News Network to take it down because that was out of context. Now again, we weren't there. So with the Vic Mignogna, same thing we said, you know, let the courts decide. This one isn't going to the court. So, you know, we weren't there. But apparently the person that raised the concerns, Duncan, and, you know, had a lot of very in-depth details, is now saying, oh, he's recanting.
Yeah, so this is just, again, to show you the difference in how this was dealt with in the case of Damon Mills. Vic Mignogna, when the allegations came out, his career was effectively destroyed within a week. He was
fired from everything immediately.
Everything. Rooster Teeth, Funimation, canceled from conventions, and he is still canceled, basically, from most anime conventions 3 years after
Even
the
though
fact.
It hasn't been proven that he did anything. I mean, you know, again, with the courts decide, like, the courts decided. No, they didn't. The case that was brought to the courts was a defamation case, and a defamation case is not the same thing as a criminal case. It did not prove that he was guilty of anything. It just proved that they didn't think that they defamed him, and that it's very hard to prove defamation.
To the best of my knowledge, and again, this isn't something we follow very closely, but to the best of my knowledge, nobody has come forward with any smoking gun against Vic Mignogna. Nobody's come forward with anything that would stand up in court. I haven't seen the kinds of evidence against him that I've seen against, like, the Rooster Teeth guys,
right?
You know, or even the case of Damon Mills here.
And here's the thing too: they're like, believe victims, but then when there was a victim here, no, they were like, you know, weren't believing the victim, and now the victim recanted suddenly. Yeah,
so let's talk about this. Again, if you are sensitive, I'm giving you a trigger warning. I normally don't do that, but you know, this could be a triggering situation for some of you who have maybe been through this sort of thing. Anime News Network is one of the only sites to talk about. They're the originator of the document, and Bounding in the Comics talked about it. He is the voice of Frieza currently, and he's also the voice of Kaworu in the Amazon version of Evangelion. Anime News Network. The Ohio man that previously accused Evangelion film and Sunny Boy voice actor Damon Mills, they're not putting Dragon Ball in there. That's why not. Of groping him and masturbating next to him while he was asleep when he was a teen has withdrawn the allegations. The man, referred to as Duncan, due to concerns over retaliation. Well, what would give you that idea that Twitter would retaliate?
For this person.
Yeah. Or privacy, contacted Anime News Network on Sunday to issue the following statement. At this time, I wish to permanently retract my statements and allegations regarding Damon Mills. I wish to apologize for potential harm I have caused anyone involved with or affected by the incident. Thank you for your understanding. The previous allegations asserted that between 2014 and 2015, when the man was 16 to 17 years old, Mills was 20 to 21. Again, it's not a huge age difference.
But they said another thing, he was 15, and another thing when it started. So I like how they changed that when the age of consent was 16.
Apparently, people who have been following this a lot closer than we have said that there are a lot of things that don't make sense about this whole situation. I as a parent, was kind of like, you've got a grown-ass man coming over for a slumber party. Mm-hmm. That's weird.
And this is supposedly happening over and over, and he was inappropriately touching you, and you weren't interested, but you didn't tell him no, and you kept sleeping in bed with him. But I also understand, too, as being somebody who's been in a situation where somebody who is, like this guy, you're not saying this guy, but the way they describe this guy, is that, you don't do what they want, and they're very clingy, and they're like, well, I'm gonna, kill myself, or I'm not saying he did this, I'm saying I've seen this before, where they played mental mind games to the place that even though you knew something was shitty, and you knew something was wrong, and you knew it was something that you should be like, really not, okay with, you're manipulated to a point where you feel guilty if you say anything about it. And I'm not saying that's what happened here, but that could have been what happened here.
For the record, she's not talking about me.
I'm not talking about you, no.
Because I'm going to get all kinds of email.
No, I'm not talking about Neon. It was about somebody I knew before Neon. But, so, I mean, that happens because you're saying, why would you put up with it? And it's like, I can understand why someone would put up with it. But I don't know why his mom was like...
Yeah, it's kind of weird. We have a guy who's several years older than your teenage son coming over for slumber parties and sleeping in the same bed.
But when he told his mom, she did something about it. But he hadn't told her either, so how was she supposed to know? But still...
Chastity belt? I don't know.
I mean, but you're also assuming, hey, it's another guy, so I know my son likes girls, so I would think, okay, nothing to worry about.
Grown-ass men don't have slumber parties.
Unless you're Michael Jackson, but that's another story.
Well, that's a whole nother issue. Duncan previously stated on multiple occasions he awoke to Mills wrapped around him, groping him, and in at least one instance, spanking it.
When he was spanking it, that would have been enough for me. I would have been like, hell to the no. No. What the hell, dude?
Mills, through a cease and desist letter sent to the alleged victim on February 18th, asserted the relationship was consensual and mutual. So he does admit that,
he said type thing.
Yeah, and the allegations were wholeheartedly false and without merit. In a separate communication with Duncan, the voice actor asked the allegations be retracted. Another teen friend, Brian, who asked us not to publish his last name, shared images of messages with Mills. Yes, that's the thing. There were a lot of receipts for this particular instance. And again, in the case of Vic Mignogna, we're talking 3 years after the fact. I haven't seen any evidence that any of this shit actually happened, except for that one website that popped up with a bunch of stories. But there were no, like if somebody said, here are a whole bunch of receipts of Mignogna with this girl or girls or whatever, and it was provable, yeah, okay, but I haven't seen that. Unless I missed it, I haven't seen it. Yeah,
they said Duncan's own messages from 2014, 2015 show Mills discussing how to help him, do that, and asked what kind of different acts he was interested in, and also the penis size.
Oh, okay. All right.
But it's completely taken out of context.
This is just a couple of dudes just talking.
Let me ask you, because it's completely platonic when you tell your friends, I'm going to talk you through masturbation, and can you give me your penis size, right? You did that with all your friends, right?
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, no, that's what we did.
That's like that article.
We go play basketball.
Straight men hug and cuddle. And
just straight men hug and cuddle,
and sleep naked with their friends.
No, that did not happen. And, when you get to a certain age, unless you're drunk and crashing at your friend's house, you don't have sleepover parties anymore either.
They said that the allegations were shared via public document. That original document is no longer online. Shocker. Yeah. But the reaction, so the reaction to how Mills was treated as compared to how Vic Mignogna was treated are night and day. And there seems to be a hell of a lot more receipts, if the receipts are true, for Damon Mills than there was for Vic Mignogna. Now, the only thing that's different is with Vic Mignogna, it was supposed to be women who were complaining. With Damon Mills, it was another guy. So it was just another case of, men don't get sexually assaulted bullshit.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. It sounds to me, I'm not trying to be a dick, speaking of which, but it sounds like Duncan was basically bullied by Mills' lawyers. Because this, right here, Mills told ANN he has sought legal counsel and has been advised to not comment on the allegations. He sent the alleged victim a cease and desist on February 18th. Mills demanded in the letter that the alleged victim cease and desist from further contacting Mills' employers or contractors. He was given until February 25th to agree or face potential legal action, including potential liability for damages, costs, and expenses. In a separate communication with Duncan, Mills asked that the allegations be retracted before he would consider granting an extension to respond.
So wait, I won't give you an extension to respond to this unless you retract that. That sounds like, you know what I mean? You better retract that or I won't agree to an extension. That's weird.
Yeah, so this is... I'm not buying this after he threatened the victim with the C&D. Yeah, something's...
It's a little weird. So you're supposed to believe all victims as long as they're women?
I guess. Well, that's the thing. Like this one I think is going to go down the memory hole. And I think it's because there were other voice actors that are apparently friends. We don't know either one. I don't know Duncan Mills. I don't know Vic Mignogna.
No.
But there are people that are friendly with Mills that they were cornered. Like, well, what do you know about the situation? Well, I don't know what you're talking about. Hey, look over there. Mm-hmm. But meanwhile, we're gonna go start a podcast about Vic Mignogna.
There does seem to be a double standard. And it turned out that never really had any receipts for Vic Mignogna apparently. And if these receipts for Damon Mills weren't true, how come one's still canceled and one's not?
Yeah, well, here in the forum, it said, I imagine they'll just let him finish up his existing roles and then quietly let him go because of the allegations.
But they let him finish it up, but they didn't let Vic.
No, Vic, they recast him.
Immediately.
And then they actually put press releases out about who his replacements were going to be.
And that's more my takeaway from this is why, a couple things. Why is there a completely different treatment of two people accused of similar things? And then why is it when you could also argue sexism, because why is it that if there's especially female victims, it gets treated in one way, but when it's a male victim, it gets treated in another?
Yeah, people were kind of like, no, we don't think anything of this. This isn't, no, it's not like him. And look, we can't say for certainty, what happened, but it did seem very in-depth. And there were receipts.
There seemed to be quite a bit of information. And this is what I'm thinking, too. They didn't want to be put in the center of a controversy with negative attention. And we don't know what happened. Like, probably when the claims were made and in the end it came out, people figured out who it was for the pictures. And then harassment. And he didn't want to, drag his family through it and everything else. It could just simply be that he made it up. I don't know. But it doesn't feel to me like it was made up. But.
No, and here's because if there is a lawsuit and there's legal action, his name, address is out there, his family's out there. And we know how crazy the people are about the Vic Mignogna situation,
But the flip side, Damon was saying about don't contact my employer. So was he going out and contacting the employers?
I don't know. I mean, he might have been contacting like Funimation and Crunchyroll, and
it is weird. You can't get the extension unless you drop it. And I'm like, if that was the way courts work, then no one would ever be able to pursue anything.
Yeah. So I don't know what's gonna I guess if we're gonna fire people based on hearsay and any allegations, then if you're gonna be completely fair, regardless of whether or not he withdrew. If that cloud is hanging over him, if you're going to be completely fair, you're going to have to toss him overboard.
By the comments, the people in the comments seem to think he did it too.
Yeah. Because they even said, look, these are people, they're like, I'm not saying any publication is 100% perfect without missteps, but there's zero chance A&M wouldn't take this case up with the utmost sincerity.
Yeah, there is. There is a chance they would, because he did it with Vic Mignogna by posting pictures. Yeah. People out of context of the place that the alleged victims were writing them and asking them to remove the pictures and saying that they weren't coerced. They asked for that picture. So at Anime News Network also had some of their people calling us alt-right Yahtzees because we said, let the courts decide, we weren't there. And so do I think that they take utmost sincerity and seriousness? Not always.
Yeah, I think he got intimidated. I'll be honest.
In my opinion.
Yeah, I think.
I think it happened. I think that he got intimidated, and I think that I just think it's sad that if it did happen, that we have a completely different way of behaving if it's a male victim as opposed to a female victim.
Yep. So I don't know, guys. We'll see. I'm gonna tell you the truth though, and again, we mentioned this in the previous video as people who did the anime con scene for a number of years. I guarantee you there are a ton of stories like this out there. A ton of stories. like this out there because everybody messed around in this scene. And that was kind of what got us about the Vic situation. Some of the people that were throwing shade at him had reputations themselves.
Some of them got outed with evidence after the fact. This comment kind of sums it up. Operation Silence Victim was a success. Funimation Crunchyroll will not punish him in any way, nor will they let him go like people have been saying they will. The English dubbing industry is sadly very filthy like this, one of the many reasons I refuse to watch or support dubs.
Yeah, I think he got threatened in the silence, and you know, now whether or not he was a one-off or there were multiple people, you know, who the hell knows, but you know, Mills apparently has a lot of friends in the industry, and they're not gonna throw him to the wolves like they did Mignogna.
But public opinion seems to be swaying against him, so.
Yeah. Yep. All right. So we're gonna wrap this one up?
Yep.
Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.